Gretchen, what were some of the other things you did at the museum in addition to training docents and establishing that program?
Oh, I did quite a few things. Another program I had was for outstanding high school students. And they came in on Saturdays. And over the years, I had almost 3,000 of these kids. And they came in and the curators would help me on Saturdays. And each curator would teach a class in his or her particular specialty. And I gave an introductory program for them so that they ranged in grade level from the 8th grade up through the 12th. And that's a little difficult to handle if you have 3 or 4 kids from different grade levels because their backgrounds are different. So I gave them the background first, and then we divided them up into classes, and I taught a couple of classes, one in comparative anatomy and another one in scientific illustration. So, and I also later taught something in how to do scientific research. And the rest of the things were vertebrate paleontology, invertebrate paleo, and so on down the line. Whatever the curators specialized in, that's what they taught. And it was good for the kids because we treated them more like adults. And I never had any discipline problems. Nobody did. And sometimes they would go out on field trips with the curators. And I found as the years went on that some of the universities who were familiar with this would take our kids as freshmen and use them in the field. And that's very unusual for universities to do that. They usually wait till they're juniors and seniors. And also I lectured to university classes coming in, mostly on vertebrate paleontology. And we also had a program with the other museum across the way, the Science Museum, and UCLA and USC and Caltech, whereby we recognized youngsters who were unusually bright and could be incorporated in research programs at the various universities. And that went on for a good many years. It rose out of what I did the 10 years before the docents came in, because I started the science fair program. And I guess that's mostly what I did. Probably a lot of other funny little things, but.
Well, and you worked with customs, didn't you?
With who?
With the customs on...
Oh yeah, that's my own research. I have funny research. It was research regarding the identification of hairs and fibers. I got into it by one day I was going down the hall on the 3rd floor, and Dr. Pierce called out to me and he said, "Gretchen, do you know anything about hair?" And I said, "No, I don't know anything about hair, except that it always gets in my knife and dulls my knife when I'm trying to slice tissue for the work I'm doing," because I had been doing my master's work at the University of California, Southern California. And so he said, "Well, I'm finding hair in some of the material from Rancho La Brea when I'm trying to find bits of insect material." So I said, "Well, give it to me and I'll take a look at it." And that got me started in identifying hairs and fibers. And nobody does this. So there was one professor over in New Jersey who did it, and I had written to him. I figured out how to identify this, because you can't just put a hair under a microscope and look at it. You have to compare it. So I wrote out my process and sent it to him, and he said that was fine and made a few suggestions, and from then on, the Fish and Wildlife and Fish and Game discovered that I could do that. So I got quite a lot of problems presented to me, and they sometimes came at funny times. I remember one day when the docents were up in my office, they came in, the Fish and Game came in with 3 great big boxes of fur coats that they had taken from customs, and wanted to know what kind of animals, because they would not allow them in. So I had to do that. Another time they came in, somebody came in and brought me a whale's hair. So I never knew what was coming, but it was fun.